Doing the same ones.
Quite scary. Yeah, it's absolutely going to be the same ones. Ball's looking to be Shyvana. Exactly. So as they go back through picks and bans, we're going to have to just look at what they want to get out of these compositions, how they want to do it. You know that Bloodwater and Xmithy were quite aggressive in their last laning phase. They were able to get out quite strong. But will they do it again? Are they going to try to take out Sneaky Elimination? Because we know them as the passive lane.
I definitely think that the Lucian Annie should be the more aggressive lane.
Right.
And they're going to be definitely trying to get a fair bit of aggression early on. Even though we're going into the same game with the same picks and bans, doesn't mean we won't see lane swaps. It doesn't mean we won't see invades. I think for XDG as a whole, I'd like the Warwick pick only because it's strong against Shyvana and it can kind of get them to that point. But I do worry a little bit about ManCloud's ability to just survive that laning phase against Vi and Yasuo.
ManCloud does like to be aggressive, get the lane pressure on. Even if he doesn't roam, he stops his lane from roaming. So definitely a good thing. Not a good thing, but to bring up and be a little bit worried about for him. He wards a tad late, as we see. He was pushing back Kassadin quite hard in that first game, pushing back. So we'll see if they can pull it out.
You could see Benny there using his hand warmers like an arm warmer, just going all the way up and down there.
Well, the blood flows into your hand, so if you speed it up beforehand, right?
Does that work?
Nope, probably not.
Okay.
It sounded good at the time. That's why
I want to try it.
Play-by-players can say anything.
Oh, you don't need to put hand warmers on your hand. Just put them on your shoulder. It'll work just great.
Hot Ice. No, that's a good movie, though.
Hot Ice? I haven't seen it.
Rookie of the Year. Wow.
I've seen Rookie of the Year. I've not seen Hot Ice.
That's the same movie. It's just a line in the movie.
All right.
All right. We're on the same page. This is how you get so good to be co-casters.
Words.
Yep. Absolutely. You trade them back and forth at high speeds.
I like that. Rookie of the Year was a good movie, though. That was the one where the kid had like the 106-mile-an-hour fastball.
Yep. You need Hot Ice.
Because he broke his arm?
Yep.
Okay.
Gotcha. We're on the same page. It always happens. It takes a little bit, but then it's like, boom, same path. End of the race. We found the finish line.
So I would consider Cloud9 the rookies of last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Throwing
Meteos
fastballs the entire time. That was actually pretty crazy because, like I said before, when you win so much, you kind of go into a game like, are we going to just win again? Because nobody's really challenging us, but more fastballs.
Well, if anyone challenged Cloud9 last year, it was XDG.
Yes, it was. XDG very much so in the early game. Remember, 88% of you came into this game thinking Cloud9 would take it, and it's still 88% on that website. So we're going to have to see if the fans here are correct. But the fans also sitting behind XDG after that first game. Zuna finding a little love in the jungle. So both teams, you could say, have home court advantage right now.
Both teams with home court advantage.
Yeah.
It's craziness. All right, so same start as last time. Pretty much exactly the same. We see Sneaky standing in mid lane.
Dancing.
With ManCloud.
Oh, he's balking the shot.
You got to be careful with this guy. He broke Manor last time.
He did.
He's going to fire
ironically with a Peacemaker.
Damn it, Riv. That was good.
Double Doran start. Actually, Yasuo going for the Doran's Blade in mid instead of the shield. So that'll be a first. Not gigantic, but a new. Thank you, Caitlin.
All right, so Doran's Blade start actually on Yasuo.
Yeah.
Very aggressive opening. We saw Voyboy's last successful Yasuo game. He started with the Doran shield. Instead, I really wonder whether Hai's going to want to lane against Gragas or whether he's going to want to put himself in a 1v1 against Warwick. He would have to go a long way in order to get to that Warwick 1v1. If I had to make a prediction here, I'd say it's going to be standard lanes all around, but we just haven't moved into those spots yet.
We have only had standard lanes all around. We're 4 games in here, and nobody's really wanted to mix things up
First
yet.
game, Cloud9 did the double turret kill.
Oh, they did go super fast. You're right. That went so quick. I forgot about it.
It was very fast.
Sneaky and ever. Ooh. So now that the wards are down, they start to invade. This boggles me. But this see what they got out of it.
This is a smart invade right now because they know Warwick can do almost nothing to help Zuna early on in the game. And if they push him off here, it will set Zuna back a fair bit.
Wondering when this was actually going to happen. Now, did they trade down to the bottom lane? You see Warwick, he's going to actually try to see if he has time to take his wolves before he does this. Benny. No, that's not his wolves. Elise, rather. Zuna.
He's taking Elise's wolves.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Zuna tried to stick around and harass a little bit. He's going to run to his red. I wonder, actually, if Balls is going to take the blue buff now for himself because he doesn't want to get to lane. No, he's going to run straight down to that turret to get some minion experience.
So it doesn't seem like Balls really is one of the Void Boy, or we saw earlier happening, that they just walk away from level 2. Actually, he was doing
yeah,
it,
well,
but now he's approaching a lane.
Balls actually took the Wraiths while the counter jungling was happening and then ran all the way back across the map. And the only reason Balls showed himself in the lane that early was because the wave was already pushed to his turret, so there was experience for him to get. As you can see, Benny is still jungling since the Caitlyn and Thresh haven't actually pushed it to the turret yet, therefore couldn't get experience.
A little gentleman's agreement on the blue takes of either side. Let's see that Zuna's able to take that one back into his favor. Zuna, we said, playing Olaf in his last game, 6-0 in 15. Going to be bringing out the Lease. We pointed out a little bit of the mechanical, that it has heightened the mechanical prowess of Elise. Takes a little bit more.
The requirement of
there we go.
Is a lot higher.
I wonder
It's
if
a
go down
weird
to
thing
this
to counter
bottom lane.
jungle that early, but it's because he'd just taken the blue, and they're pushing him off the turret anyway. So they're going to be taking turrets, and again, Cloud9 opts into this turret trade.
It kind of forces the other team to have to opt into it as well. You go this fast. TSM fell behind here last game. They weren't even halfway done with this turret by the time that Cloud9 took theirs, and it looks like they will be able to fare a little bit better here, or XDG that is.
That move by Balls right there, waiting in the tri-bush for experience.
Twice in a row now.
It's going to give him an edge. It gave him an edge against TSM. It's a smart thing, and they didn't even get that turret. This is going to again. Cloud9 is looking like they're coming out on top of this.
Let's see if they can hold it. That was Zuna backing, or not Zuna backing, I'm sorry. That was Bloodwater backing, saying, you guys got this. And he's not even focusing down to that bottom lane. They say, I'll meet you in mid. We're starting the rotation now and putting it in step.
Well, here's what XDG is doing that TSM didn't, is they are making sure they have defense for their other lane.
Yeah.
And they're still having enough to finish off the turret and keep the game close.
Yeah, that was a little miscommunicated in the previous game. Our first game of the day, actually, Cloud9 TSM. XDG, like we said, faring a bit better here, but Hai is still trying to keep this lane pressured or pushed as much as possible. So ManCloud can't get out, can't roam in it. Not ManCloud. Oh, I was going to say it's ManCloud playing a little passive, but ManCloud now being ManCloud. It goes in for a flash body slam, but neither team really wanted any of it.
That was really strange decision-making right there. And now it's getting maybe turned around. Both flashes down from mid and jungler. Hai's early laning phase was very strong against Gragas. He's definitely been outplaying ManCloud there. And it was almost a desperation flash body slam because he thought Zuna was going to be in range to gank, but it wasn't even close.
They caught Meteos. As soon as he peeked his head around that corner, they didn't want any more of the fight. So really good positioning by him. Always right place, right time. Looks like ManCloud's kind of forced to stay in lane now a little bit behind, and this is really where Hai's going to want him. Just keeps ticking down on him, and he controls that lane, rather.
And this is something that Hai has over ManCloud. He can stop ManCloud from farming the wave when he wants to, because the wind wall actually destroys the Gragas barrel while it's rolling on the ground. So if ManCloud tries to set something out and farm the back wave, Hai can stop him from doing that. He's almost double his farm now.
That's a really big factor, because Gragas is only thrown out when he's getting 2 or 3, when you're getting mass coins. So that is going to absolutely hurt. Great point for ManCloud. He goes for 2 rings. He knows he needs a bit of that HP because the burst from Yasuo is going to be quite strong. We saw what Void Boy was doing to the AD carries earlier. Next, Smithy and Bloodwater looking to soak up some of the resources as they've found the lane pushed a little bit, but they don't want to get too close to Sneaky and Elimination in their new aggressive type style of play here.
Yeah, Sneaky done a very good job laning on Caitlyn throughout the day. This is his second game on Caitlyn. He was victorious on TSM, and that's... There's an argument to be made that he was just getting rid of that, but it's a bad one.
Maybe he was just hungry. Everybody loves cupcakes.
He does have the Vamp Scepter already, so getting getting traps out of the way when you can is often worth it. Otherwise, it'll stifle ganks and often kill you when you're trying to run away. See, he's already life stole it all up, so he did, in fact, clear that trap just to get rid of it.
So that's the thing with the Vamp Scepter lane, though, and you have no sustain coming from a healer. Ooh, very nice flash on the Vault Breaker there. Benny's going to go ahead and waltz himself around. He will not get any blood sent out of this one. No, it's going to be a 3v1. Great transition up from Hai, but Zuna meets him first. Will it be enough? Zuna's like, I ain't got nothing for you after the cocoon. Benny finds himself in the long walk, going down for first blood.
And that was all because Hai had so much presence in that mid lane to stop ManCloud from roaming up, but he himself is in trouble if ManCloud... No, actually not, because he got the wind wall.
The wind wall will change the prediction immediately. Elimination also trying to throw out a quick aggression there to get the Fog of War into their favor and everybody coming out of the woodwork. See them pushing down. They decide to leave the bottom turret, though, knowing there was a lot of aggression towards the top side. Why would they leave Smithy in the bottom lane if they're not going to get much off this?
Well, I think it's just because they want the support to be roaming around a little bit, and he's not needed down there as two people as long as Sneaky Elimination are roaming around. You don't need to have Bloodwater there to watch Xmithy farm.
Right. He's soaking up more experience. That'll put him ahead in a few levels, and he's actually got 2 levels on his support. So they'll have to be careful if they actually try to go in for a fight. Tibbers will not be there, and they will have to coordinate. Same thing on the other side, though. Sneaky's a level ahead elimination, as it should be, but it's not 2 levels. And they're definitely going to be able to coordinate these fights. Pushing up here from Xmithy and Bloodwater without too many wards behind them. And I think they heard me. They go to ward.
They're going to get some safety back in that lane. But honestly, the laning phases aside from the middle have been very even and close. I'd say Benny actually had the edge on balls before he got ganked. It's really just been about High's Yasuo shutting down ManCloud's Gragas.
Something to keep an eye on for sure. We know Gragas is being really one of the top tiers. We've seen him in the jungle recently as well. Seen him as support recently as well. So
you've seen him everywhere.
Been used all around the map.
I wanted Gragas support to work yesterday. It just didn't. It was actually Kuja who tried to play support Gragas.
Yeah.
Some people may know him from long ago in the European scene, but
all the way back to Season 1 finals.
He's been around.
Against All Authority versus Fnatic. Those are some fun games. Definitely a different style of play 3 years later.
You could say that. You could say it's slightly different. But even so, we have Yasuo against ManCloud. He's got to get out of the way of that teleport.
Oh! That's all that needs to be said.
ManCloud's going to get tired of this really quickly. High's wind wall is completely shutting down ManCloud at the moment. That would have probably been a kill if he wouldn't have been able to react and put that wind wall down. That's the big thing about playing in these low ping environments is his reaction time is basically just true to what is coming out of his screen.
And that wind wall effectively stops a teleport. That's on full cooldown for Benny, who is going to ult in on that fight and get the suppression. So that stopped a little more besides that cask.
And XDG likes to get their advantages in the early game. If they don't pull off early game advantages, they oftentimes aren't able to close out games. And Cloud9 is the ones coming out with the edge here. They did a slightly better job with the lane swapping, and they've just done a better job rotating and taking advantage of High's great Yasuo play.
Absolutely. The cookie is crumbling in their favor right now. We've seen the gold lead coming into the start of every game here in the North American split be at least, or I should say just, around 1,000 gold. It doesn't really spread too much until really later in the game, which usually we see teams getting that first dragon, getting those first turrets.
Oh, here comes a gank.
Ooh, Zuna, very, very low in the mid lane, but he repels on most of the damage there, gets himself out. Very well played. And I believe he canceled out the Vault Breaker, Assault and Battery rather, and he did.
Yeah, they were trying to chain that one after the other, but he was able to repel right in between the combo. Actually a bit of a strange gank there. I feel like if Meteos would have ulted at the start, they would have gotten the kill. But then, since High did land his Tornado, he ulted right away, and they just messed up their chaining because he actually landed a spell he wanted to.
See where they go from this. A little aggression in mid could give them enough to start going for the turret. A sweet little wall there stops Xmithy from putting some passive damage down onto it. It looks like Cloud9 has everything they need to siege protect.
Yeah, there was no wind wall to block that Gragas assault, but the turret stopped him from going too far away. I think the dragon fight's going to be a big factor in this one.
Gragas says yes. So does Annie. You're going to have to see Meteos if he can really change the minds of everybody. There are 3 dive buddies on this team. High wants to go in, but he's not going to be nearly as tanky as Meteos and Balls, so there has to be extreme coordination when they get into the fight.
Yeah. So the nice thing is he's gotten a Static Shiv, and
right.
for Yasuo, surprisingly, Static Shiv is a great offensive and defensive item because he gets the extra damage from moving around so much. But since the move speed actually comes out from Static Shiv on him, it's an off argument, but it makes his flow recharge faster for the passive shield that he can get to proc there. It does look like Cloud9 is all grouping up towards this dragon now, hoping to catch Zuna and ManCloud in a blue buff rotation. It's all about how fast they can kill it.
It seems like Cloud9 is just kind of going for this dragon. Doesn't seem like anything was really set into place. They found the window and took it, and sometimes that's the way you have to play. They start to spread that gold lead to 2,000 now. First dragon down at 12 minutes, so we'll see that around 18. We'll see if both teams are actually moving for it beforehand.
And check out Meteos. He hasn't even finished a Spirit Stone yet. He's still sitting on Hunter's Machete, and he's just going around with the Boots of Mobility, but it hasn't hurt him in health too much. Knowing that he can take all the blue buffs, he's able to spam his spells fairly frequently in the jungle and actually keep his shield up from using spells. It's making it so he doesn't need the sustain from a Spirit Stone.
Definitely seeing less Meteos than usually in the lanes this game. We saw Snoopy tried to build mobility boots on Lee Sin in their first game for EG, and he was only really the support there, but here we go, getting the lockdowns in. They're going to be able to take him down. They try to get a bit of suppression down onto Balls, but they get out alive.
And this is what all the Vi's do nowadays. They max their Vault Breaker, and as long as that lands for Meteos, it is a huge amount of damage, and it gets the kill for them. Then they just chained their ultimates together, and there was not much Benny could have done to escape that one.
Not much he could have done or can do right now about his turret going down. The rest of the team is in the top lane, so we have rotation now. Meteos is going to be heading over, but Balls is free to pressure this top turret, and Warwick really isn't that close. Getting the repel out of Zuna. That was cute.
Just about.
Cool wall.
Yeah. It's windy. Second turret goes down in this lane, though, so there's a lot of split pushing going on. High. Might want to be a little careful about ManCloud here.
He doesn't have any mana. He gets popped back to his team.
It was a good flash.
That was pretty lucky.
He flashed over that barrel so that it knocked him in the other direction. Otherwise, I think ManCloud would have finished him off.
Looks like XDG is still trying to keep that pressure around the map. Zuna and Bloodwater, or Zuna, going to do it a lot. Smithy and Bloodwater have not moved from this bottom lane for quite some time, and we even saw that Sneaky and Lemonation were mid lane even before, and still the bottom turret is up for these guys. They've been putting their focus in a lot of other places when they had that lane in their favor.
Yeah, the farm in that bottom lane has been rather close. I would say that the lane advantage of Xmithy and Bloodwater should have mainly come through, but because we did so much 2v1ing and so much swapping, it was hard to really fight in a 2v2 situation, and it just means the farm is close.
XDG definitely handled the early turret rush better than Team Solomid did in the first game. It wasn't Cloud9 instantly going and pressuring the turrets. They have found the second one in the top lane, but even in the first game when they dropped it quick, it didn't really play much of a role. It was all about the mid, and then the Dragons, and then the Barons. So if XDG can kind of get by the fact that they don't have a top turret, they'll be in good condition.
Yeah, I can see XDG falling behind a bit in this game, though, because a lot of their farm in the jungle is just low. They haven't been able to make any plays of their own. They're really just reacting to what Cloud9 is doing with them.
And that's what you almost can't do. When you're playing adaptive, you're already one step behind if you're not the one initially doing the adapting to what's going on. So XDG is thinking of what to do. Who's the initiation, though? They have the Tibbers. The Flash Tibbers could absolutely be there, but when you use that, you're only going to have a dragon, a chick with big hands, and Yasuo coming at your face. So it's a lot to worry about.
See if they can get the push down on the bottom lane here, because Annie's flanking around from the side. They don't want to get caught in a Tibbers plus Xmithy combo. That would be a bit too much.
No, but they are, chat. They are. And there's the culling on the backside. Box goes down. Benny's there to capitalize on the suppression, locking him down. Lemonation's going to fall on this one. And no, they don't have the wards to be safe right now in that bottom lane.
The pink ward from Bloodwater pays dividends because they did not know that it was the Annie approaching up from the top. And, of course, the teleport came in on another pink ward, I believe. Yeah, check it out. Going from the other pink ward down on the mini-map. Even with the lantern there, Warwick had them both dead to rights. He hops on Sneaky just for fun, and then Lemonation had no way of running away. He didn't even bother trying to use his flash.
It worked really well when they played Ashe and had Hawkshot when they didn't ward. But when they don't have wards and they don't have Ashe, it looks like the bottom lane gets torn up quite a bit there. Very well played by XDG. Baron is up in a minute and a half right now. Or, yeah, Baron. Dragon is up in a minute and a half right now. And with XDG winning that little bottom lane scuffle, they get the Bloodthirster up towards Xmithy and charged up. Zanya's is on to ManCloud, so that makes the objective fight a little bit stronger for them.
Yeah, it's not your typical Gragas build, but that's because you typically don't have to fight against Yasuo.
Right, the armor.
Yeah, the armor from the Zanya's Hourglass should come in pretty handy for him.
Oh.
He's actually come back a lot in that lane since High could block so much with his wind wall.
He is just auto-attacking HP back from burnout.
Exactly.
Mixed damage doesn't matter.
Benny can completely deal with balls at this point.
Very good damage onto the turret so far. It looks like they don't want a full engage, though. It's not what they are ready for. The teleport is down. There's just too much crowd control they're looking at for this next fight. High stays alone, And maybe he can bait this fight out. It looks like Sneaky and Lemonation want to help him with something.
Yeah, High's still working on his items as well. He's got 1,000 gold in his inventory. He has one for the Vamp Scepter and double Thorns, so he's really worried about keeping his health sustained up high.
Cloud9 still getting out pink wards. The pink wards laid after they actually lost their bottom lane just now, so they're kind of doing a little bit of their own reacting to something that happened when they were the ones on the driver's seat just a second ago. Still 4,000 gold in the lead. And those pink wards are going to set them up. Like we said, Dragons at 18 minutes. That's in 10 seconds. So they have already set the chess pieces in place more than XDG here for this objective. Yeah,
Bloodwater would have to get there very quickly if he wants to take this one down. I wonder how long before Cloud9 fully commits to this one. I think this is the fight Cloud9's been waiting for. And as long as High's in position, he can actually block the barrel steals. He can just throw a wind wall up, and it's safe to do any objective against Gragas if you have a Yasuo on your team. It is a little dangerous, however, just putting themselves in the Dragon Pit and allowing XDG to initiate, but that's what they've chosen to do. Here we go.
Benny's getting close. Eyes on Warwick. He locks down High, actually. Dragon goes over to Meteos. He gets the smite down perfectly on it. High is very low, but somehow still alive in the fight. He dashes out. Benny's on his tail. Can he live with the last hit there? They have put 3 people on 1 person. The other side of the fight, it's XDG losing 3.
Yeah, that just shows you how XDG was very weak coming into that fight, because even though Benny seemed to take all of the distraction onto himself, Cloud9's Wrecking Crew was still able to finish off the back line of XDG. So a great call and fight by Cloud9. They did have a small lead before that fight. Now it's much bigger.
Fighting with the vision there. I guess they pulled everybody out of the vision, as you can see the start of the fight. But
and I got to see the other half of this fight that we didn't see on camera right from the start. So it was an attempted steal by Zuna, and then he wasn't really involved in the rest of this fight. You can see he runs off towards the top, and Meteos is who's fighting up there with Shyvana. This part we've already seen before, so you can see Sneaky just finish off Benny with those Ignite ticks, and that's the 3 for 1.
So very nice coming in. 2-0-2 in the top lane for Balls. Meteos sitting on the same score. And this time it looks like Sneaky and Lemonation are going to take a little bit of a backseat. They're putting more of the assists up for the team to make sure that they get everything they need in. But they have found the biggest lead we've seen at 20 minutes into the game. 5,000 gold lead as XDG comes up on 26,000. And almost an engagement there. A great lantern out by Thresh.
Yeah, so soon to be an Infinity Edge on High. That's going to be a scary thing. But it hasn't necessarily been him being a big factor in this game. It's been the synergy between Balls and Meteos.
Yeah.
The gank they were able to pull off on Benny in the top lane, and then their dive in that dragon fight have really been what's securing them the big advantages. Balls, even though he can get handled by Benny in the 1v1, hasn't let Warwick take much back on the map. You look at that lane, Balls' turret is still standing. 2 of Benny's turrets are gone. Again. Those wind walls.
Wind walls, trying to keep him safe in mid. Something we saw earlier with Benny coming down in the teleport. They got good kills on Lemonation and Sneaky, but it didn't deter them at all. Usually you think the next fight would kind of go, in XDG's favor as well, but Cloud9 knew how to regroup for the fight, putting themselves up with that dragon. It's very hard to come back after losing fights like that and go back and forth every time. Usually it's a team getting a little bit more every time, but Cloud9 does not let that happen.
Not so far this game. We're only 21 minutes in. They had a slow, methodical play against TSM. This one's been pretty standard, not nearly as slow as their game against TSM, and I think they're trying to pull off a bit of a split push here with High farming on the side, which means here comes the initiation.
Oh, Sneaky on the front line, and that means he is going down first. Ball's coming from the backside, and they just get everybody as they try to siege the turret. That's how you do it. You come onto your own turret from the backside, but it looks like XDG finds a bit of ground in this fight. Lemonation very low, stopping High, but he's able to finish out. ManCloud, the barrel, taking down Lemonation before he gets hit. Valiantly doing some good damage before he goes down, and still so chaotic, but only 3 for 2.
Yeah, they get the 3 kills because they saw there was no wind wall to block their initiation that time, and they just went all in right away. I don't know. He's just trying to stall.
Wow, getting the flash out. Not what he wanted there. So High in his aggression loses out on that summoner spell. It looks like Cloud9's able to is forced to regroup now, and that was XDG's chance to really get into a fight. They took down 3, and they did a great job.
They saw their opportunity, and they pounced on it. The Warwick still doesn't even have his wits end, but he is becoming pretty strong man right there. 7,200 gold, actually 1,000 behind what Balls has on Shyvana, but just as impactful in some of these team fights. Warwick always used to say he doesn't need as much gold to be good as other champions. His scaling is just so strong.
Like we said, that time bomb, I'm going to be looking towards another 20 minutes in this game, and you will just see that Warwick.
Well, we'll
zero
see him.
cares.
Yeah, he won't care. It's not like he's going to start blowing people up. He'll just be very difficult to deal with.
He gets his extra set of 4 abilities.
Yeah.
Then he can blow people up. 3-2 in turrets, so not too much map control really is the name of the game here. It's all been within the lanes. The mid turrets still, or mid turret, I should say, still standing for XDG, which is going to help with their buffs a little bit. I don't see that Zuna is really trying to make too much pressure. He had a little bit more pressure on Olaf in the counter ganking, or counter jungling, I should say. But maybe Meteos on the other side doesn't let him do that.
This is a much different game for Zuna. He didn't get the early ganks happening, and now he's just trying to make up for it.
Yeah, got onto high pretty well right there. The body slam and the instant Q barrel. Able to get 3 off of that and the shutdown right now into high.
That was all Benny, I feel like. The suppression from the Warwick ult just allowed the rest of them to fly in afterwards and finish him off. High pushing up a bit too far without safety.
See what they're getting wards around. They got pings down towards Baron. Those are only for vision just now. Really not putting out enough damage to cancel that guy out quick enough. So at 24 minutes, 7-7, even in kills, and it's really the next focus. Oh, Meteos looking to Q that Vault Breaker. Almost landed on ManCloud. These guys are testing each other quite a bit right now, seeing who can pressure each other more into making that next mistake.
Yeah, and it's going to turn into a pretty good game here. You can see XDG, since they got the kill onto high, was able to take that turret back. They're really pulling this one around. If we get a dragon fight next, which we probably won't because the timing is just off, it would have been a good time for XDG to come back into this one. As it is now, Cloud9's going to get it, and it's actually going to slow down the game a little bit. This isn't a point of contention.
I really like the focus of Meteos here. Always on those champions that can get himself in the team, but also helping with the Locket of the Iron Solari. If High or Balls on Shyvana or Yasuo need that extra shield when they're in deep on the back line.
Ooh, Benny took a lot of damage up there in the top lane as well. So Balls fighting back with that Blade of the Ruined King active. Now Warwick has to heal up a little bit. And this could be another opportunity here for XDG to find that fight. Bloodwater doesn't quite have his flash yet on Annie, but that was a very potent initiation for him the last time he did it. Lemon
Nation trying to use the Fog of War here to his advantage on the side. Meteos on the out. He gets caught. He's forced to Vault Breaker in. Assault and Battery as well. High going down very low, and they're taking a bit too much damage at the start of this fight, but they trade back 2 quick kills instantly. Easy enough for me to say. And they keep going on the fight. Those 2 kills were perfect. Zuna almost goes down. He actually clicks back on accident. It's enough for Sneaky to hit the shot. He nets and flashes into position. 3-1 now. That was just a 3-for-2 in favor of XDG.
Completely turned on its head right there. Yes, they got a start on the Meteos, but he's a very tanky guy right there. Didn't actually use his Locket of the Iron Solari.
Wow.
Maybe could have lived. Even so, Cloud9 just powering through.
Benny trying to do what he can on the front line, but he's only going to be taking a bit of damage. It looks like they get the turret without any worry. It's going to be on the Sneaky. They flay him off. Could they get enough damage? And they finalize the kill. Great reaction time there by Lemon Nation to keep his AD carry alive. The follow-up kills coming from High. The Thresh Lantern out. And Boss is going to be safe from Burnout and the Ascension.
XDG went about a quarter second too early for that one because they had the support coming in Xmithy and Bloodwater, but it ended up just costing them both of their solo laners' lives. So even though XDG had done so much to claw their way back into the game, they just lost it all right there. Cloud9 was able to turn right back around because, honestly, XDG came right to them, and Cloud9 turned it around beautifully.
Meteos looked like he got himself caught, but they just have so much confidence behind their team and what they're doing. They were able to, that fight went from coast to coast. It did start down by Cloud9's mid inhib, or second tier mid turret, and then ended up at XDG's turret with them losing more people. An unfortunate situation. As you said, the cookie's crumbling in the favor of Cloud9 in every instance here, and we're even seeing the fights go back and forth, but just too much in the favor of Cloud9 that time. It's all up to XDG now to really take back the driver's seat and use this time to figure out how Cloud9 is getting around their defense.
Yeah, well, they're getting through a lot of it because they got 2 Last Whispers completed right now. That's a huge amount of itemization for High. Picked up a bunch of gold in that last fight. He's actually sitting at 1,120 tops in the game. So not only did he have a good laning phase, he's had an even better roaming and team fight phase. That last fight in particular was a huge boon for him. And now they can actually do this Baron with a little bit of peace of mind if they want to start doing the baits back and forth, or just Shirelia's in and try to make it happen.
They wanted Zuna pretty hard there. Great cast coming out from ManCloud. Saves the day for a quick second. Not too long of a cooldown on that. We'll see them getting back into each other's face in just a quick tick. Zanya's finished up for ManCloud, and he's had that for quite some time. The only times he's used it, he's actually gone down after, so it's really not proving useful for him just yet, but nothing else is really going to.
It's really hurt his Gragas build. You see most Gragases get the death cap very early, and he basically turns into a burst caster. Since he had to go with the Zanyas, his damage has actually been dropped fairly substantially, and he has not been able to make the impact he normally would on Gragas.
Wits End finally finished up on Benny. It's something we saw Darian building up. I'm actually happy it's back. It's kind of one of my favorite items. I like Wits End.
Everybody loves my favorite item.
Everybody loves attack speed. How can you not? 12-8 in this matchup. And that attack speed hopefully is starting to help Benny as he gets into that tankier part of the game, because it is an 8,000 gold lead that Cloud9 has right now, and it's really spread nicely across their entire composition. Nobody's focused power right now, and even Lemonation has 9 assists, so that's going to be helping him out a lot.
Yeah, plus he's almost maxed out on cooldown reduction there with the Talisman and the Boots of Lucidity. So that's a lot of hooks, a lot of plays, and a lot of control in team fights. Meteos was hoping to hop over a wall, but he got spotted by that ward.
We see Benny now taken to the bottom lane.
Yep.
He's going to get a bit of a split push on here as
we're getting forced into a bit of a play right here, because there's the Warwick in the top lane, so either Cloud9 goes for Baron, Dragon, or they send someone for Benny. I think since Cloud9 likes to take action, they're going to be going for this Baron first and foremost.
The ward is there on the other side, at least for XDG to see. No, it gets cleared out. And this will not be helping them. Benny in the bottom. He has teleport up. They could be ready for this one. Looks like they are going to be able to drop the turret, but is it enough time to know how much time, health Baron has? It is not. It is taken. The teleport now happens, and he's going to be on the backside of this fight. Maybe they decide to figure out how the pinch works. No, he stopped his teleport. They are able to get in. They throw Xmithy into the flame there. Very nice job getting him to the backside of the fight. Looks like Cloud9 is going to be able to push on.
Benny's very sad right now. He just standing there after his teleport was canceled, probably from his own use right there. A lot of times if you try to spam click right as you're teleporting, you'll cancel your own teleport.
Yep.
Not sure what happened there or if it was an intentional, but even so, the Baron was taken before anything could have had a big impact, and now Cloud9 has a nearly unstoppable push down the mid lane.
Let's see, well, they will take the turret, and it is going to be the inhibitor next. If that Lantern hit, there would have been Nexus turrets to follow after this, but with that Gragas being up, the full 4 around him, or full 3, I should say, Xmithy up in 1 second, they can't not do much.
No, they have continued to cascade their advantage here. Yeah, they gave up 1 turret to Benny, but it was for much more great gain. Plus, they can just take a dragon on their way out. Oh, is he going to grab the lantern? Come on, man. It's right there. Get it. No!
Oh, bus driver closed the doors. See where they can go from this. The Dragon's only going to help the pile of gold that sits in the back of their fancy car right now. They are ahead a nice, cool 12,000 gold, and that's nothing to be worried about. If you're on XDG, however, it is very hard to get by any of that. You can see, talked about it before, the double static Shiv, Infinity Edge to Bloodthirster, so somebody's got the crit damage and somebody has the sustain to stay in the fight. And these guys, like I said, with that Lock of the Iron Solari, and then Meteos builds the Banshee's Veil, they're starting to become completely unkillable, and Benny is losing people that he can ult in these fights.
Yeah, Benny, in order for the Warwick to work, other people actually have to be getting things low.
Right.
And him sitting in the fight needs to be an active distraction. At this point, since Cloud9 has just caught a few people out of position or just chased down the squishies, they've been able to largely ignore Benny, and it has not worked out for them. I think the pick itself has been good for XDG, but the team performance has not been.
Definitely have to be forcing more fights, but how can you do that? The other team is so far ahead, and you know it's a straight loss 5-on-5. You get the split, you use the Fog of War to your advantage, and you use the Greg Assault to get high right in the spot you need him. They're going to throw it in the box. This is a big fight here for XDG, and they need to come out on top. But even with the turret on their backside is another member of the team. It's Sneaky and crew to wipe them out, push them off their own base here and just the outside. And it looks like they're able to continue. The Baron taking away is really giving them a huge advantage, along with positioning.
Hey, as nice as the catch was on to high, there was no X-Smithy there to capitalize. So even after they killed him, it was still a 4v4 against a team with Baron, which meant 2 people fell on XDG, and they lost their turret. Here comes the continued push.
And this becomes the hardest part. You have the wave you have been waiting for in the top lane, but XDG can't get anywhere near it. Cloud9 is knocking on the front door for a second time here. The second inhibitor looking to go down, doing this methodically as Cloud9 does, and I would not be surprised if they took the time to go top and take everything.
They were not able to get that last inhibitor, only because XDG had respawned and they had actually gotten harassed down quite low amongst all that. But good control, smart counter move.
Yeah.
It's actually a little strange for Cloud9 because normally when they play, at least back in the 2013 season, they were the ones who initiated almost everything, and teams were reacting to them. But in their first game, when they had the Teemo, they set up their traps, their little stupid mushrooms, they were so annoying, and TSM had to consistently come into them over and over again, and that's how they won like a very slow and drawn-out game. And in this one, when XDG made the game close, Cloud9's victories have been very reactionary. We think of the first fight, where the first fight they won way up towards the middle turret of Cloud9 when they got the catch on Amidios. That was XDG's move, and Cloud9 just reacted to it very well. Even the last push for the bottom inhibitor, XDG's move to get on high, but again Cloud9's victory. So instead of them playing extremely aggressive and making all the moves, they're actually reacting a lot more than they used to.
They're the ones that wait for you to make the mistake. It even kind of plays in, like you said, the way they did it with TSM. Knowing that TSM was warding so much, they cleared a ward and hid where they wanted to ward. That's how they caught the odd one a few times.
Yep.
So they really play to their opponent's mistakes, and that's a different way to play when you completely win every game. If your opponent doesn't make a mistake, then it becomes scary. But Cloud9 is exceptional at finding them. Sneaky with blue buff as he heads towards the bottom lane. He doesn't even need it, but they have a lot of things they don't need right now, like a 12,000 gold lead. That's pretty good. 15-9 and 8-4 in turrets. They still have 3 to drop on the map. It's good for XDG. They got their inhibitor back in mid, but they are all huddled around pretty much a small campfire that is those 2 inhibitors, keeping them alive.
They got to keep those things warm, otherwise they're going to get destroyed right here. Banshee's Bow being completed by High makes him very safe. There's a really hard initiation.
Going to the back line. He went for a hell of a ride there. Meteos is there. Everybody's to the back line. Talk about dive buddies in 3, because it's a crowd. Zuna now the focus. He is trying to get himself out. The repel is the only thing to keep him alive for a few more seconds. ManCloud feeling good about the 1v1 onto Sneaky, and that's what they needed, is the DPS to be out of the fight. But look how much power just comes from the auto attacks and the repeated abilities of the Bruiser squad. These 3, Balls, Meteos, and High, just doing work with Lemon on their back.
So that was actually kind of cool. Vi knocks everyone aside when she goes for a target, which made way for the ace in the hole, and that's one of the huge things that just destroyed X-Smithy in that fight. It means both inhibitors are going to go down. Maybe the game here, because they still got 4 people alive to 2 defenders.
35 minutes in the game. This is very much more so Cloud9-esque. Their 34 to 35-minute average game time becomes a little bit more true. They look to win their 2nd game of the North American Spring Split here in 2014.
Whoa! A little bit more damage, and that could be the Nexus right there, trying to get some kills at the end.
Everybody loves a little bit of KDA. The culling on the fadeaway, not enough to grab High. Meteos looking happy. A quick high 5 to High, and all around the horn for Cloud9.
2-0.